everyone, welcome back to the show. It's very exciting because it's time for another personal piece episode. I'll remind you, in these episodes, this is where you finally get to hear my own personal thoughts on the characters in the Game Changer series. So we're sticking with the first book, Game Changer. We're going to do it like we do with the character profiles. We'll do it one book at a time. Okay? And so this time we're going to be doing my personal piece on Kip's best friend, Elena. Okay? So, yeah. So, really excited. So, this is where you're going to get my personal thoughts on the character. I'll remind you about the character first and I'll get straight stuck in, okay? So, so let me remind you about the character in the spotlight today. So, here we go. So, Elena Rygg is a cybersecurity engineer and best friend of Kip Grady. Blunt, perceptive, and honest, Elena plays a role in Kip's emerging relationship with Scott Hunter. She later moves to the West Coast to pursue her career. Okay, so straight away, I really did love Elena, and I just loved how she was basically that confidant role for Kip, even though in a way he didn't really need a confidant, because I think a lot of us, probably for the LGBT world, we would look at a confidant as being that one person who you trust with the knowledge of you being gay. Okay, and that's the person that you go to for support. That's the person that you go to for advice. And obviously that's the person that you'd want to be by your side where you have to basically then do the coming out. Okay? Which is kind of what Hayden becomes to Shane in Hero Rivalry. But here in Game Changer, Elena isn't that kind of confidant. She's the confidant where that's who Kip can go to talk about Scott. So what I love is how it's a different take of what we view as a confidant. A lot of you in the gay community would see a confidant as that one person. Could be a man, it could be a woman who you trust with the knowledge of you being gay. But here, because we already established, Kip is already out and proud, so he doesn't need that kind of confidant. But the confidant that Elena provides is, where he could go to talk about the relationship with Scott, how it's developing, where it's going, and all, and everything that's, that obviously unfolds in Game Changer. So that's the kind of confidant that Elena becomes. I really love that because you can tell throughout that she really does care about Kip. Okay, she really cares about him. She wants him to be happy. And sometimes it can be a bit blunt. It can be a bit it can be a bit too much overbearing, a bit overprotective. Like at the gala, and I remember that bit. Like, oh no, we go, no, stop, no, stop it, stop. The way she grills Scott, and we all knew it was coming. Because obviously, in the build up towards the gala, she mentioned how, I tend to give that man a good grilling. Gonna find out what his intentions are, and we're like, because up to that point, things between Scott and Kip are going really, really great, and then and I'm like, no, girl, please don't ruin it, please don't. But I kind of, do you get why she does it? She's basically looking out for him, and the fact that we've already established her personality beforehand kind of helps it, because she is seen as a caring, considerate person. She's got, Kit's interests best at heart. But I'm like thinking, oh, no, someone stop her! Someone stop her! No! Oh, no! And I can just tell throughout it, Scott is really uncomfortable. He's really uncomfortable, because at this point, he's not sure where he thinks things are going to go. Because we do establish at that point, he really likes Kip. He really likes doing Kip. I mean, oh, come on. Look at that bod. Look at both their bods. Put me in the filling between that sandwich. All right. You know what I mean? But you can tell even literally how uncomfortable Scott is throughout that. It's like, okay, right, okay, it's uncomfortable. It just feels uncomfortable to watch at times. But she's not doing it because she wants to basically try and wreck the whole thing. She's doing it because she really has Kip's interests at heart, and she wants to make sure that Kip's not doing something stupid, or this isn't gonna end up breaking his heart. I think what really hits is how when she says to Scott how miserable he is, having to be kept a secret, and that kind of what drives the narrative later on. Because if that didn't happen, do you think those two would have then gone through everything they then go through? Probably not. So that kind of awkward first meeting between the partner and the best friend, while it was awkward as hell, it kind of needs to happen to then really then kick the story into overdrive. So in a way, it's kind of important. So I want to focus more on her personality. So she's a very intelligent, brilliant woman, and we also know that she's blunt and honest. It's a bit like me. I personally do not hold back when it comes to my honesty. Okay, so I am literally cutthroat. I could probably kill a man with my honesty. I really could. Just make sure we get to that first. Then we go for the kill. Smash and bash. Yeah. But honestly, my honesty is cutthroat. So I always have to warn people. Do you really want my honest opinion? Are you sure? You really sure? Okay, it's your funeral, and I'll wear yellow to it if I want to. Okay. So yeah. So anyway, and then it's kind of a bit like me, blunt and honest. But I think my honesty might be a bit more brutal than hers. I think mine's a bit more brutal than hers. And do I really love is how she is just unwilling to suffer fools. Exactly. Go girl, go queen. I think we all need to be a bit like Elena in our lives. Yeah, we're gonna suffer no fools. Go girl, go. Kick him in the balls. Rip him a new one. Go girl. Yes, queen. We need a bit of that. We need a bit of Elena inject into our lives there. We all need to, at various points in our lives, not suffer fools gladly. Go queen. Go girl. Alright. And she's very perceptive of others. So I'll give you an example. Okay, so here's the example. She uses Kip's full name to chastise him when he is being obtuse. Okay, so that's one. Here's another example. Wheedled Scott's phone number from him. That's another one. Or the best example, told Kyle to fuck off! When told not to bring in outside food. Okay. I could think of a different reason to tell Kyle to fuck off! But, okay. Each their own. Oh, sorry, Kyle. I did like Kyle, but it's just the way he was portrayed in the book. I kind of felt in the book Kyle was portrayed to be the one that got in between Scott and Kip, and I was just like, no. Even when he makes his move, when obviously Scott and Kip are broken up, and you think, oh, they're broken up, that's sort of fine. Even now, I'm still like, no. So sorry, Kyle. We are going to do a personal piece for Kyle. We will do one. I'll make up there. But Sorry, Carl, but that's brilliant. That was a brilliant example for there. So that just shows how she just takes no fools, takes no prisoners. Love that. Love it. But despite all that, you know, despite its bluntness, she is compassionate and she does care deeply for her friends and wants them to do what's right for them, which kind of manifests in a protectiveness, which can be misplaced at times. Like obviously the gala, as we talk, as we've already talked about with the gala, how when she's growing Scott, that could come as could come across as she's very she's being really overbearing, she's being protective of Kip, but it's because she was the best for Kip, and if this man's the right one for Kip, then so be it. But she needs to find out for herself first, even in doing it in her own kind of her own way. And she does not have a problem being alone. She's oh. Sorry, what's that? Sorry about that, guys. I just got a weird, unexpected phone call there. I think it might have been a cold caller. It might be a cold caller because so I did answer it. I did answer it. And all I got was this like weird hello, and all that. And then I tried to then answer it back, and it's like it must have gone. So what I do is I might try message that back and see if we can try again. Might try to look it up. But the thing is, when I try to look up cold callers, they never brings back they never you never get a result. We've all had it, haven't we? From time to time where someone rings and you don't know who it is, and you then try to look up the number online. We try to do the classic Neiman Max. We try to do the classic catfish thing. We can never get a response. Yeah. Sorry about that, guys. I do keep my phone on, just in case anything like that happens and I need to quickly leave the studio. I probably should have my phone turned off while recording, but you never know. You never know. It could. It could easily be an emergency or something. So I think it's always best, just to leave my phone on. That. I have notifications switched off. I have the sound for notifications switched off. So I do get notifications, but I have the sound turned off because they're just like constant all the time. And I think I could just get one with just the icon, and I can then check afterwards. Yeah, that was a bit of a surprise. It's nearly 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So, Who was ringing at that time? No. There was still on the phone. I did pick it up. I did answer the call. And all I got was this like weird like hello. So I tried to do a hello back, but he wouldn't. It was I could tell it was a guy boy. I then picked it up back. And he then didn't respond afterwards. I imagine it's probably just a cold caller. Probably just a cold caller. We all get those every now and then. Right, where were we? In fact. Oh yes, right. We were talking about how Elena loves being alone. So we were talking about how she loves being alone. She doesn't really get into like a serious relationship. She has like these like, you know, meaningless one night stands, you know, with various different celebrities. So for example, one of them being a famous singer's backup dancer. Another being movie star. So she's got good taste, I'll give her that. But yeah, she's got very good taste. But yeah, so she's not really into the serious relationship things. But it's good for friends, but it's not really for her. That's fine. You do you, girl. You do you. But yeah. So yeah. So I really do feel like she's a really great friend to Kit. I really do love her character, and I love her personality just blends well. Some of it I do see myself, like how the brutal honesty thing, and all that. So I really love that. And yeah, so I feel like she's a really great confidant to Kit, you know, and I always love their interactions together, you know, and it's that rare time when obviously, you know, Kit can, you know, just be open to Elena and, you know, just talk through, you know, the situation that's going on, you know, with him and Scott. So she's that confidant, but it's not the confidant that you expect, which I think is really, really good, because there are various different types of confidants that you can have in the gay community. You can have that confidant who is basically the person that you trust with the knowledge that you are gay. And then there's the other type of confidant where you basically tell them, you know, things going on in your life. That kind of confidant, okay? And that's the kind of confidant Elena is, because we know that Kit's already out and proud, so he doesn't need that kind of confidant that Hayden becomes to Shane, which we'll talk more about when we do Hayden's Hayden's personal piece. Sorry. It's that unexpected circle. It's throwing me off. We'll talk more about that when we do Hayden's personal piece. But yeah, but Elena's more the confidant where Kit goes to talk about the relationships and all that, get much needed advice. And I really love, and we have to talk about it, I really love how towards the end, she's the one that has to basically just like nudge Kip into action to get on the ice for the big kiss. Because obviously, Scott spots Kip in the crowd, he gestures towards Kip, but Elaine has to basically be the one that's like, go on! To basically get Kip to basically move into action. So, that is just brilliant. So, I really love that. Really love that indeed. Yeah, that's brilliant. So yes, I love how she's just really has to push him to basically, you know, just do it and just get involved. So yeah, so I mean, she's a really great character, and it's kind of a shame that eventually she does, you know, move away. Because obviously, later in the book, we discovered that obviously Elaine is going to be moving onto the West Coast, for work. So you really felt, oh no, we're going to be a really good character here, you know. Especially when Kit needs it the most, you know, when the relationship's getting, you know, complicated and messy. Not that sort of messy, you know. But yeah, so even I was like thinking, oh no, don't move away, don't move to LA. We need you, you know. So I'm like, oh no, you know. So yeah, so even I, never mind Kit, even I was disappointed that, you know, she was going to be moving away for work. But this does happen. It does happen. People do end up moving away for work and all that. Yeah, so, So is this our only time we see Elena? Oh, no. Oh, it's a shame. Because I feel out of all of Kip's friends, she's the one that gets the most development. Okay? I mean, obviously he's got the likes of Sean and Maria, but they're not really as fully developed as Elena was. You know? Elena's the one that he went to for advice. So, yeah. It's going to be a shame we don't see her again. Not really, because I think she's a really great character. So I think it would be an absolute huge shame if that's it, and we only see her in Game Changer. That is real. That'd be a real shame. Because you know, what if we see Kip and Scott again? You know, in the other books, you know, and we get to see their shit a bit further. We could really do with Elena being there, you know, to try and be that confidant as I mentioned about. So that's a real shame. So I just love how she just comes across this, you know, bright, intelligent, independent woman, just takes no falls, just brutally honest. It's just, I kind of felt there's a lot of Elena's personality traits that we could all do with injecting into ourselves from time to time. Okay, so we can all do that. So I think she's a really great character, and I loved her portrayal in the TV show as well. And now it's go that for Scott and Kit, but I could just a brief mention with Elena. Okay. So I think there we go. So again, apologies for that interruption. When we finish recording, I'm going to see if I can message that number back and see who it was. You know, literally they made the first minute. They were the one that said hello, and then I said hello back, and then it was like, ooh, cut off. I don't know if it's a Sam or Westport. Oh no, Rad's got the wrong number. And anything, cold caller. Yeah, but apologies for that. But that might happen from time to time. Because obviously, I do keep my phone on just in case of any emergencies and like that. So I don't know if you guys can hear my ringtone. Because it has happened before. It happened once when me and Lady were recording an episode of Purple Rain. It had happened once before, and I wasn't too sure if my ringtone had picked up or not. So if it had, I can only apologise. Yeah, honestly, was not expecting that. I mean, it's nearly 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Who's ringing me at this time of the day? Especially if it's someone I don't know. Anyway, I'll go do this investigation. But yeah, but apologies that happened. But you might see that happen from time to time because obviously I do feel like I have to keep my phone on, just in case there's any emergencies and or anything like that. Okay, so yeah, just yeah, apologize about that. But no, but honestly, I really did love Elena. It would be a shame if we don't see her again. Because I've got a feeling we might be seeing a bit more of Scott and Kip in the next couple of books. So I think it would be a real shame if she's not there as well. Because I feel like she's that confidant that Kip's going to need as his relationship with Scott to develop that bit further and further and further. So if she's not there, who's Kip going to turn to now when he needs advice in the relationship? Who's he going to turn to next? I know. Anyway, but that is my personal piece on Elena. So thanks to her as always. Apologies once again for the abrupt phone call. I have no clue who it was. It didn't even say who it was. They just said hello, and then as soon as I heard about it, Facebook hung up. Anyway, so apologies for that. But thanks for as always. So next time, that's game.